Okay, I am back with another Bob McAllister poem. This is a 1984 poem, and it's my favorite one. It's called What the Wallpaper Couldn't See. And I have to plug the book again. In his collection, Even in the Wind, Even in the Dark. Buy it if you don't have it. So just to set this one up, Mac is very hungover, and he's at a low point. He's having trouble even breathing. He's so hungover. You know how everything gets really magnified when you're really have a bad hangover? So this poem is written in 4 stanzas, and I think it was meant to be read in 4 breaths. So that's what I'm going to do. It's called What the Wallpaper Couldn't See. This comes from the time I was holed up in a dive I called the Sweat Bag on Seneca Avenue in Seattle with a woman whose toenails were too long, and I had lit a saffron candle to celebrate the dawn because God knew the night was bleak enough with rum and my head was swollen with phone calls I'd never returned in the dripping wax morning. Almost made it. And she was snoring like a 52 Plymouth Belvedere against the sirens of 630 Seattle streets where dumpsters clang and empty, and there are just enough seagulls squawking to make you feel like you felt but couldn't. And without any seams on that maroon carpet, I put my forehead against the window glass that drooled rain and kept breathing, surrounded by amber smoke and the certain wheeze of a woman that drained my head until I swallowed the sun into my mouth without thinking. Yeah. So this poem, again, 1984, he read the poem to us, his students, in class. I remember being in class when he read it. And it's kind of like, it's the way I like to remember him, you know. Hungover, looking out the window at the dumpsters emptying and the seagulls squawking, and he's drooling and probably going to throw up in the next few minutes. Poor guy is suffering. Our hero is suffering. But you know, I think most men would probably want to bury this moment deep down in their subconscious and never talk about it. But not Mac. He writes this poem and shares it with us, his class. And I like to think that he needed to read this to us because teaching was probably one of the only bright spots in his life at the time, and we all adored him when he was probably feeling pretty low in the self-confidence category. So he needed to read that to us, and I still, as I say, I imagine him at that window, hungover and down but not out, you know. And if I were to continue the poem, I would have Mac in his last muster, his last bit of energy. I'd have him grab that bottle of Captain Morgan's rum and take a big slug and jump into bed with a Belvedere and drive her to Funky Town. Funky Town, funky town. Mac, love you, man. You're the best. My hero. Keep writing these poems. I love them.